What's up, guys? Today we're going to do the first ever Whiteboard Wednesday. We're going to start with program considerations. When we look at programming, don't think of everything as black and white. There's a lot of gray area. There's a lot of ways to get to the results that you want to get to. So the first thing we tend to look at when we're looking at the athlete is the age. And we may be talking their actual age, or along with that, their training age. So how long have they been in the gym? What experiences do they have in the gym? It's going to impact how you're training that athlete. When you're working with a youth athlete that's never touched a weight, you can use less advanced styles of training because they haven't been there and there's no reason to actually go to your extreme measures yet. We can build off simple periodization, things like that. Now, when we go goals, it's going to be important for that athlete or that client. We're looking at their sport, like what impacts their sport, what can we improve in the weight room, in speed work, change of direction that can help them in their sport. If it's a Gen Pop client and they're looking to lose weight, how do we go about that? That's a little bit more simple. We can look at things like that. The needs, oftentimes their needs aren't exactly what they want initially. So you're looking at programming those type of things. How do we figure that out? It can be in your initial assessment. Like if we're looking at a baseball player, we can even just watch them from the side pitch. If you know the biomechanics of what they need to get into to improve like velo, things like that, what are they doing in that? Are they late in the mechanics? Are they getting into that back hip? Are they getting a good strong stopping leg as we're rotating over the hip? Things like that, ER of the shoulder. When we look at frequency, we're talking how often are they going to train? This is going to impact your volume per that day and for the week, along with what type of split are we doing? Say you've got a team sports athlete that we know the team we're only going to get 2 times a week. We may have to go at higher intensities those 2 times a week, or depending on if we're in season, off season, that's going to affect your frequency in training, the intensity of the training, things like that. When we're talking medical history, you can have different health considerations because of things like for an older client, osteoporosis, how are we going to train that? Can't load them axially. Other things such as previous injuries with athletes, or what we've assessed in our initial assessment, what do they need to work on to make them better at their sport? Are they missing ranges of motion, things like that? It's even important, this will adapt dynamically because you can actually look at their warm-up and see where they're not moving well. Some days they could move fine. Some days they might not be moving well, and we need to address that before we get into a lift addressing that area. When we're looking at testing, what are we doing to make sure they're getting towards their goal? Are we doing embedded testing, which my mentor taught me, which I think is the best, where we put it in as part of the program? Say we do a vertical jump it's telling us if we're getting that power. Are we testing it? Are we measuring it? If we're measuring it consistently, we can see, is what we're doing working? Although there are other confounding factors of, are they recovering? Are they doing the right things? Sleep, things like that. You often see that more in team athletes at the collegiate level, where lots of stressors could be going on at a time. That embedded testing can tell us to pull back on that athlete as well, because maybe they have a lot of stress from exams or the training, and you'll see it in declines in vert or sprint time. When we're looking at specific date testing, I'm not a big fan, but that's where you're just testing on certain dates, which the only negative of that is, what if they're having an off day? If you're testing strength, they could be down that day central nervous system wise and have a really bad day. So the main thing to remember when we're doing program considerations, what's the main goal? What are we trying to get to for that person or athlete? Are we trying to lose weight? Are we trying to improve athletic capabilities? then that's what we need to measure and make sure we're achieving. And how do we get there? There's going to be many different ways on how we get there, but it's going to be more important to have a plan on how to get there, building off all these different factors right here. Okay, and that's program